Those old enough to remember Sega at their best during the late 80s, early 90s will be taken aback by Slipstream. 4 years in development by Brazilian solo developer Sandro Luis de Paula, also known as Ansdo. He built his own custom game engine that recreates the sprite scaling graphic techniques used during that era. With added rewind mechanics and a brilliant soundtrack, is this a blast from the past or should it slip away? Stick around to see if this is for you. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. A big thanks to the publisher for the review copy. Now let's speed through the streets, old school style. It's 1990X, you're in the driver's seat. As you turn the key and hear the engine starting, a cassette plays on the stereo. The clear blue skies invite you to escape to explore a world of exotic landscapes and thrilling races. Step on the gas, choose your path, drive across cities, mountains, deserts, forests, beaches, places all over the world and beyond. Disclaimer: I am not very good at racing games and my love for them has dwindled as I've grown older, but since this looked like something I'd play back in the day, I thought, hey, why not? Having grown up in the 90s, I vividly remember playing the arcade version of Outrun, of which this takes many influences. However, the solo developer has added enough to the game to make it stand out. There are two distinctive mechanics in the game: Slipstream and Rewinding. If you stay directly behind another car for a while, you'll catch the slipstream. This technique can greatly reduce the air drag whilst giving you a speed boost. You'll see the word slipstream being spelled out as you stay behind a car, and once completed, the word will flash and your car will shoot through at high speeds. This is a great mechanic that encourages the player to plan and swerve accordingly. Although I did find that this mechanic doesn't really work all that well when you're way behind in a race. It takes very little to fall behind, meaning that returning to pole position is almost impossible. Basically, if you need a car in front of you in order to slipstream and you're way behind and there's no cars in front of you, you can't slipstream. Now, rewinding, on the other hand, can possibly get you out of a tight spot. If you need to correct any errors such as a collision with another car or a tree, for example, pressing the Y button allows you to rewind back up to 5 seconds. There is a cooldown, so there's some strategy to how and when it's best to be used. There's also the possibility to drift by hitting the brakes and quickly press and hold the acceleration button while steering left or right. There is an option to set drifting to automatic if you wish to focus on the race. Having said that, there is a dynamic difference between carrying out drifting yourself and letting the car do it, so experimentation is advised, especially if you consider that each car has its own traits and stats. The game by default is pretty tough when you consider how fast you go and the lack of a map or signaling system giving the player a cue of the approaching next turn, as you see in most racing games. I'd advise to set the speed in the options from its default 100% to maybe 50%. There is a noticeable difference in handling the vehicle and you won't lose as much. But then again, I suck at racing games, so whatever. Slipstream has different game modes, including Grand Tour, Cannonball and Grand Prix, with the latter allowing you to customize your car with the money earned after each race. There are also rival races in each course that you must race to the finish line whilst dodging all traffic. In true outrun style, when you drive out of a zone, you'll be given the option to go either left or right. Your choice will cause the background to dissolve, revealing the next track. I found this to add some replay value and variety, mainly to the fact that you're given a choice to go different routes each time you play. The game can be played via couch co-op, 2 to 4 players, and although I did not get a chance to try it out, I am sure many players will appreciate this. The inclusion of more cars and possibly an online mode would have been a nice touch, but considering that this was built by one man, game engine and all, it is a great game. I am sure many fans of old school races, as well as contemporary ones, will enjoy this massively. The soundtrack that draws from synth pop and jazz fusion influences by Stefan Moser, also known as FOHK, is sublime and it really helps you go back in time. The sound effects such as the screeching of tires are on par, and I love how there's a cassette tape swap sound at the end of each song. It's a really nice touch. I will leave a link to FOHK's website in the description below. Honestly, the songs in this game are really good. The developer has done a great job at capturing the essence of the era with neon colored pixelated visuals that can have filters added to it in order to really rev that nostalgia. There's a 16-bit Sega Genesis look to it, and the developer has been able to mimic the effects of Sega's Super Scaler engine with his own. This allows for 3-dimensional sprite scaling graphics, capable of rotating and scaling thousands of sprites, creating the illusion of speed and depth that you can see on screen. Taking full advantage of today's technology, the extra power provides constant 60 frames per second gameplay. There are also a lot of influences from other Sega franchises in this game, in particular Sonic the Hedgehog series, with its red and yellow serrated banners and screen fade outs. And you know what, if I didn't know any better, I would have been convinced that this game is actually quite old. The devil is in the detail. The optional visual filters include CRT, NTSC and pixelated modes. The game just looks gorgeous, and the effects such as the one seen when pausing the game or rewinding are superb and add to the theme of playing an old game. So right, let's see, what do I think? Well, this game is a love letter to the racing games of old. It borrows a lot from the classics, yet has enough charm to stand out. This can be downloaded from the eShop for £7.99 or the original equivalent, and requires a mere 317 megabytes to download. There's plenty to do here and stuff to unlock as well, and fans of the genre wanting something different may enjoy this. The default difficulty can be off-putting, and once you fall behind in a race, you'll stay there. The rewind mechanic offers a new layer of strategy, and its execution can turn the race around. Hats off to Ansdor for creating this from scratch, and I would personally like to see more games using his homemade engine. Maybe an Afterburner game, for example. If you're up for a challenging retro-styled racing game that won't break the bank, this could be for you. And Sandra, if you're watching this, obrigado hermano, muito bom. This game gets a 7 out of 10. The fast and the furiously tough. Thanks for watching and for sticking around this long for this review. I will have another review in the next few days. Please subscribe, like, all that jazz. Keep on gaming. Have a good day. Peace.